Welcome back, everyone, to the next episode of Spidey Swing-Bys. I'm your host, Christian Ashley of Systematic Geekology. As we continue on through every chronological appearance of Spider-Man by release order, we're not an Amazing Spider-Man this week. As you can see on there, we have Avengers number 11. So, no more preamble outside of describing Avengers this week. This came out in week 41, 1964. The release date is October 8th, 1964. The story is The Mighty Avengers Meet Spider-Man. This is, of course, written by uh, spectacular story by Stan Lee, incomparable illustrations by Don Heck, dazzling delineation by Chick Stone, and lachrymose lettering by Sam Rosen. This is also colored by Stan Goldberg and edited by Stan Lee. So there's that. I don't know, is that still on? I hope that music's still not on. Did I turn it off? Okay, there we go. That's good. Sorry, I was testing out the audio earlier and was getting pretty angry, shall we say, of what was going on because you can hear things, but I can't hear things. So that's always fun. So let's get into the issue proper. That's enough of that mess. It's time for Avengers number 11. We start off with Giant Man in his lab talking with Thor, who is the chairman of this week, and asking him to come to a special meeting. The boss was there telling me, he's like, just tell them what's going on in your head. They're having the official meeting. It's just the four of them because Iron Man is not there. And they're discussing why. The events of, as we've discussed in other episodes, Iron Man is presumed dealing with the issues with Tony Stark with his apparent murder. They're trying to wonder, like, can he even trust Iron Man? And Giant Man kind of puts the notion forward. It's like, hey, let's we have a code of honor here, and we've got to figure out how to do stuff. And Caps agrees with them. Like, look, we need to show some respect to Tony Stark, and he needs to amend that motion that they need to stay on duty, but we vote Iron Man a temporary leave of absence until his mission is done, which they agree. Rick Jones intervenes to agree, but Cap rightfully tells him, "Hey, you're not an Avenger. You're a sidekick here, and you're not going to last that that much longer, there, buddy." So as they're having their meeting, they are being watched by Kang, who is trying to figure out, okay, what can I do to these people? How can I bring them down? They are my greatest enemies, and we also get some further information about him in that he is a descendant of Doctor Doom. Did you know that? Indeed, yes, that's a huge part of Kang's backstory. Don't think they'll probably implement that into the MCU, but he starts looking through history at a bunch of villains. We see like the Absorbing Man, I think that's the Melter or Unicorn. We see Mysterio, Magneto's still a villain at this time. Doctor Doom's like, how could he mess with the Avengers to destroy him? Because if he destroys the Avengers, he can rule the 20th century, now the 21st century, as comics sliding time scales go. So he decides that he's got to use one robot to defeat the Avengers. One they'll have to trust, yet one with enough power and cunning to be assured of success. And I know the one is viewing through the chronoscope or whatever the heck this is, watches Spider-Man, and his unique power interests Kang. So he says, as far as I've been able to tell, Spider-Man has ever been a loner, and there's less really known about him than almost any other costume adventurer, which at this point in Marvel history would be very true outside of probably Daredevil. So he's going to be the perfect choice. He's going to use his powers. He starts listing them off so that he will be the one person that they can all decide, yep, he's going to be the person the Avengers trust in this moment to take so that they can utilize this as a chance to take them down. He creates the new Spider-Man robot, and there we go. The plan is assured. He's going to make sure that Spider-Man thinks he's Spider-Man, and it's a crazy, wacky panel here. I have no clue what's going on with it outside of him being teleported through time and space. And he ends up in the past, all of his powers working right above where we see Captain America fighting some thugs. So the Kang has put him in the perfect position. Cannot speak today. So that Spider-Man will be able to show his prowess, the robot at least, making Cap trust him. Spider-Man webs them up, and talks with Cap and says, "Hey, I'd like to join the Avengers." And Cap's like, "Hey, you've never really been a cooperative sort, and it's not really my decision to make, but he's going to take him to the others." And at this point in time, the other Avengers assemble. Imagine that. To discuss this, Wasp hates spiders because, of course, Wasp hates spiders. That's everyone knows that. It's not really true that much in nature, but Stan Lee says it's true. Earlier, we did have the team up between Giant Man and the Wasp, so they have some camaraderie there. And Spider-Man says he's come to tell them where Iron Man is, and he needs their help. But if they aren't interested, uh, Spider-Man is going to just go away. But then Thor throws Mjolnir at him, telling him to halt. And at this point in time, they're playing off the younger, jerkier Spider-Man, who is more likely to fly off the handle. So Kang has got that down pat in the robot to have them like get at each other's faces in this moment. And as Spider-Man explains, he saw people that they know are Zemo, the Executioner, and the Enchantress, the Masters of Evil, but their destination was in a temple of Tirad in Mexico. So there's a moment where Thor gets angry because Spider-Man didn't tell them this until just now, but Giant Man says, "Hey, he's under no obligation. He doesn't really know us that well." So Thor's like, "Okay, yeah, sure. We're gonna go there. We're gonna find Iron Man, and then I'm gonna have words with Spider-Man," which poor Spider-Man this whole time has no clue what's going on, at least at this moment in time. So they then rush off to go to Mexico to find Iron Man, not knowing that they have been completely and utterly tricked. Giant Man and the Wasp go off on their own as they travel to Mexico. They see the pyramid that Spider-Man was talking about, and he sets a trap for them, forcing them down. Uh, they go down in size, see the light beam, see the spider signal as the fake Spider-Man robot tells them that he has secret methods that you can't even begin to suspect about how he's able to do this. But in his inner dialogue, Kang is the one who is manipulating the master control all the way back in the 30th century. So if Kang can do that there, it kind of rings to the question, why doesn't he do that more often? But don't think too much into it. So he then goes up to fight them, but the Wasp attacks him first. Spider Sense clearly not working, but that's okay. Early Spider-Man, his Spider Sense never seems to work as much as it should be, and other writers will take that far further than it needs to be in the future as well. Spider-Man tries to web them up, goes after Giant Man, but he shrinks down in size, and the two fight and pummel one another. Giant Man gets a good, clean hit on him. Spider-Man robot then runs away, and joined by the Wasp as the two of them clash. And then who should come into the fray, but Thor, who barely misses Spider-Man robot. The robot then hits him, knocks him off balance, then webs up Mjolnir, which brings up some interesting questions here. Aside, is Spider-Man able to web up Mjolnir to where he could lift it or able to prevent it from coming back to Thor if he calls it back? This seems to answer the question is that nope, nope. Even a Spider-Man robot could do it. Or is it just because he's a robot he's able to do this? Now, I know there's speculation among many fans, could Spider-Man lift Mjolnir? I'm in the no camp. Spider-Man does not have that warrior spirit in the same way that Thor does. Not to say he's not a warrior in some respects, but he doesn't kill. Like, as much as I really don't like the Zeb Wells run, I understand his characterization of Peter not even wanting to stake vampires. It's a foolish position, but I could see Peter having that argument at least. So that's 1 point in favor for Wells' run, which is there's a lot of negative points, so it's not really a positive overall. So I don't think Spider-Man could do it, even if maybe this robot can, because robots work on a different angle from Mjolnir. Who knows? The two of them tussle for a bit more. Thor obviously has the upper hand against Spider-Man, but with Mjolnir taken down, it's not easy enough for him to get in this fight. Thor gets pummeled a bit, webbed up, and is not able to struggle because he's going to revert back to Donald Blake if Mjolnir stays that far away from him. So Spider-Man sees Captain America parachuting off of their plane and is almost killed by a one of the parts of the pyramid, barely gets out of the way, realizes Spider-Man has betrayed them, calls him a human insect, which once again, people just get wrong. Arachnid, not insect. Two totally different things. Spider-Man calls him his easiest victim, but Captain America punches him in the face as he tries to web him up by his face, does so, and says that Kang will be pleased. And Kang is even triumph in the future, going like, nothing can stop my ultimate triumph here, except for one thing that hasn't really been foreshadowed yet until now, as the fake Spider-Man is webbed up by the real Spider-Man, who gunks up the jamming thing that he has there to prevent it from being used. Robot Spider-Man thinks it's a robot Spider-Man, another one. He's gonna, but the real Spider-Man says, "I'm gonna prove to you who I actually am." And Kang is freaking out because he can't learn. How did he learn about this whole thing? What was going on? Well, we don't really see it in the issue until now. But Spider-Man is able to say that, look, I sent you with my special spider sense powers that are all over the place. The takes down the other Spider-Man, then web slings away, doesn't really talk to the Avengers, and we get to the point where the Avengers are like, well, that was kind of weird and wacky, but it looks like Spider-Man actually didn't betray us, so there's that. And that's the end of the issue. And that's where we're going to stop in here. It's a fine issue, 6.5 out of 10, nothing spectacular. Next time will be an Amazing Spider-Man number 20. So until next time.